Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast, and today it is a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma between our red Wehrmacht player, Thien, and I hope I said that right. And on the left side, we have our blue US Forces player, Nyjah. And it is Kholodny Ferma, so we have our victory points going straight down the center of the map, like so, and our fuel point, munitions point at the bottom, and a munitions point and a fuel point at the top. So fairly even, well-distributed map. And rear echelon troops have decided to take the very first territory point right in front of the two main buildings of the map here, and getting in either of these is a pretty strategical advantage. Although I'd say this building's a little bit better than the church. Church is a little bit stronger of a building, but I like this building. It's has a little bit of a better sight right in front of it there. And now the riflemen moving out towards the territory point above the center, and the Wehrmacht now moving out with the Pioneers to the first territory point, and built two Pioneers right off the start there to get an early advantage. And trying to take territory points here, putting some barbed wire down to stall his opponent a little bit. And up top, we have the Grenadier moving out, and he's actually moving out to the bottom. Thought he was moving out to the top for a second there. The U.S. forces taking the top and the center of the map. Already got that center victory point. Gonna get that early point advantage, 500 to 492. Two rear echelon troops for the U.S. forces and two riflemen. And we have two Grenadiers and two Pioneers, so pretty much a mirrored match, kind of. And putting up more barbed wire in front of the various obstacles so his opponent can't use those against him. Which is always a pretty good idea, but it kind of slows you down at the same time. But I suppose later in the game it will pay off. Fuel point taken there by the Wehrmacht, and the munitions point now going to be taking the bottom. And Grenadiers moving up to the center of the map here, being pretty cautious. And there are two riflemen on either side here, so this is totally not good for these Grenadiers, so just got to back out there. And Grenadiers shooting out of the church and the building over here. Not going to be a good day for those Grenadiers, and Pioneers not going to be backing off. Already lost one man there to those riflemen, and a third rifleman squad now out on the way. And we have rear echelon troops making their own barbed wire up here against that cover there, so the Germans can't use it against them. And now the Grenadiers and Pioneers moving up here, and Pioneers going to get up in close range and going to start peppering up these riflemen pretty bad, and forces them to retreat. Does not take that territory point or neutralize it. And now I'm going to be taking that bottom victory point here for the Germans, the Grenadiers. And 500 to 472, but as soon as he takes, it's going to stall that point loss. And the top still untaken. So the rear echelon troops going to grab that now. And we have rear echelon troops grabbing the territory point here. Pioneers being a little bit cautious. Pioneers need to get out of the negative cover there, and need to get up as close as possible to these rear echelon troops. But it looks like they already suffered quite a bit of damage on the way, and they may not be able to take that entirely. And now rear echelon troops make it out of there successfully. They did take that territory point, but it's going to get taken right back by the Germans. But it's going to slow them down a little bit. It's going to have to stand there and take that. Grenadiers moving up on the rear echelon troops, but they already garrisoned inside the house there, so they're going to have excellent cover. So just going to have to back out and try and take something in the meantime. Force those rear echelon troops back outside of the building, and here they come now. And riflemen down here, riflemen coming up on these Grenadiers, and rear echelon troops on the other side. Volley fire now from those rear echelon troops. And there's something you don't see every day. And the volley fire, that's why you don't see it every day, is because it's just usually not that good. Pioneers now moving up on the house here with the flamethrower, forces the riflemen out of there. And Grenadiers down to one man. And a small sliver of health there. Almost loses that squad. And now riflemen battling out with the Pioneers. And MG42 setting up against the riflemen. And there's some rear echelon troops here that could get caught if they get a little bit too close there. And suppressed now. Gonna force the retreat on these riflemen. And the U.S. forces did take that top victory point.
A lieutenant has been assigned to field ops.
And MG42 backs up, gets inside the church here. Two rear echelon troops, and the riflemen now moving up on it. And not facing the correct way here, facing the riflemen, but not the rear echelon troops. Rear echelon troops are right up on this building. And no backup for our MG42 right now. And Grenadiers moving on out, except he did not reinforce these two Grenadiers here. Forgot about that. and moved him out a little bit too early. Now we're gonna have to back him up a little bit and wait for those reinforcements. And now the MG42 is facing towards the rear echelon troops and gonna force these away now down to one man, and gonna force this one out soon here too, and up pin and retreats. Lieutenant now out and about for the U.S. forces. An M20 scout car coming out. Fairly late M20 scout car. Usually you get about 3 riflemen, and then you get your lieutenant, and then you get the M20. But I suppose that works. 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Not too late, but you can get it a little bit earlier than that. And it can throw your opponent off balance a little bit. Now going to tear up that fence line, which is probably just better off for the U.S. forces, so he can get in and out of here easier, and his opponent can't use that against him and get up to the house. And the M20 forces the Pioneers on out of there. And just going to tear up some cover here for fun. Why not? And the MG42 now firing away on the Lieutenant. Lieutenant going to try and get behind the, what is that, a Panzer IV? Yeah, it looks like it. M20 moving down to the bottom side of the map here, going to destroy the fence line here, which again is better for the U.S. forces so they can get in and out of there easier. And 2 grenadiers on the other side here. A rifle grenade goes off from around, but a very disappointing rifle grenade. Doesn't actually take anything out. Looks like it took out 1 man and didn't do too much damage to the squad there. Now 2 grenadiers moving in, Pioneers moving in behind it, and Lieutenant down to 1 man. May lose the Lieutenant. It's going to be a fairly big loss there, and loses the Lieutenant. Drops the BAR too, which is going to be picked up by those grenadiers. Grenadiers inside the garrisoned house here, and forces the retreat of the rear echelon troops. Here comes the utility car, and going to be firing away into the house. And Grenadiers got to watch out for this now. And Grenadiers can pop outside of the house and actually hit it with a Panzerfaust real quick. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. And it's going to Faust it and get right back inside the house there. And the engine heavily damaged. And here comes the 222. The usual counter to the M20. Popping smoke there to try and get back. And popping out the crew there, which is the usual counter to the 222. And now popping out the crew. Going to try and move up with the bazooka. And here comes 2 rifleman squads going after the Grenadiers and that 222. Does not get that 222. Backs out in time there. And now the Grenadier, can he make it here? 10 riflemen going to be firing on this guy. And looks like he may actually make it out of there. Pretty lucky bastard. 222 going to have to back out of there as well. And M20 crew needs reinforced and need to repair up this M20 car. It is pretty damaged. And now the Pioneers moving up here. Took a BAR that was laying on the ground there. And it looked like the Grenadiers dropped it at some point there after they had picked it up. And so now we have a Pioneer squad with a BAR and a flamethrower. Very interesting Pioneer squad indeed. MG42 set up inside the church here. Grenadiers taking the territory point right in front of the base, and this is a pretty good spot to take actually. If you're on the right side of the map, you just get inside this house here and you'll actually stall off your opponent for quite a while. They'll have to like get you out of the house. Can't really move around the bottom, can't move around the top without getting shot at by from the house. So you usually just have to sort of deal with it. Captain now moving out on the field, and M20 scout car now running away. M20 scout car backing up. The crew is running away rather. And the M20 scout car takes another Panzerfaust by the looks of it. 222 comes around the corner now firing away and does have those armor skirts. So it is doing pretty well here. Loses that 222. And now Captain going to be retreating the Pioneers at the same time. More Pioneers coming up around the corner with the flamethrower. Going up right up to the Rifleman here. Rifleman take a rifle grenade. And now we have assault engineers on the field for the U.S. forces, and they have that flamethrower shooting right out of the house, taking out those Pioneers very quickly. And M20 now moving up with that damaged engine, but there's really nothing to fear right just yet. And now he's going to be close to in the range of that machine gun, but the machine gun's busy with riflemen and assault engineers. And the M20 vehicle crew now moving forward. Decided to just replace this crew here with either riflemen or rear echelon troops, not really sure which one it was, and so that he can have that bazooka out and about. And And now Grenadiers and vehicle crew going at it. Vehicle crew now a level 3 veteran. And gonna have to force their way out of here. Gonna have to retreat. That MG42 firing point blank at their faces. Never a good thing. 2 victory points for the Wehrmacht player. 470 to 411. Still lower than the U.S. Forces player. But he does have 2 now, so he's going to be trying to turn that around. Resources right now, 37 and 23 to 42 and 26. And now 2 riflemen and rear echelon troop moving up on just a couple of grenadiers and 3 pioneers, and runs those away. And going to try and lure these riflemen into that MG42, and they run right into it. It's very unfortunate. Now going to throw some smoke there, though, to stall that, but they're already suppressed. If these grenadiers move up, they'll keep them suppressed, but there's quite a bit of riflemen here, so they don't really want to do that. We have some Panzer Grenadiers and the Pioneers now moving up, and just 2 riflemen, or Grenadiers here. And so they're in a little bit of trouble. Throws a grenade on those Grenadiers, and they almost eat it. That was very, very close. And that rifle grenade doesn't do too much to those riflemen again. And now here comes that M20 and multiple riflemen and assault engineers, rear echelon troops in the center here, trying to take that center. And MG42 has a lot of work cut out for it right now. And here comes those assault engineers going right up to the front end of the church there, and flame throwing right inside there, and forces that MG42 out of there. Assault engineer is going to take the place there of the MG42 for now. And now down at the bottom here, Captain taking the munitions point. And we still have a neutral territory point all the way down there. And now repairing up that M20 scout car there with some rear echelon troops. Captain's now going to be moving down to the victory point here. And take that for the U.S. forces. And now just going to be a total of 3 victory points for the U.S. forces should they take that bottom. And so going to put the Wehrmacht in a little bit of trouble here. And Pioneers get wasted and drops both the flamethrower and the BAR on the ground. And now the Grenadiers moving towards that. Grabs the BAR, but the flamethrower is still on the ground. And this engineer squad could actually pick up that flamethrower. And looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are going to do that instead. And there they go. Now sort of like urban assault Panzer Grenadiers now, eh? And no, I'm not Canadian. And Panzer Grenadiers with that flamethrower are going to be fighting, holding off and defending this church. And there goes a grenade and forces the Panzer Grenadiers out of there. They're just going to retake that. And still using that flamethrower pretty well here. Pioneers also flame. And Panzer Grenadiers eat that grenade. Pioneer's not going to get inside the church here. He's doing everything he can to hold this church. And unfortunately not going to be able to hold it for very long. MG42 is set up back here, though. And now smoke in front of the Grenadiers there. Forces them on back. And additional smoke going down now in front of the MG42. Puma now moving forward. And I'm going to try and take out that M20, but the accuracy of the Puma always really, really low. And always missing. And it looks like it actually was just going after the rifleman there. I thought it was actually firing at the M20. Vehicle crew gets inside the church there, or inside the house, not a church. And does not get the chance to fire. It does a little bit of damage to the Puma there. And now Captain trying to move up on that Puma. And fires again, takes another shot. And Puma very, very low on health now. Gonna have to totally back out. And very low on manpower here for a Wehrmacht player, and unable to reinforce all of his troops. As you see, is a couple Panzer Grenadiers here near needing reinforced. Some Grenadiers, MG42. And she has some Grenadiers down at the bottom here, taking back that victory point, and definitely needs to take back these victory points. He only has no victory points at the moment, needs 2 of them. Start turning the game around. And Osttroopen now out on the field. And got a decent call-in here with this one, a 3-star, but no LMG, and a pretty bad call-in here. No veterancy, no LMG. Assault engineers force the Grenadiers on out of there. Going to take back this victory point here.
Panzer IV command tanks can now be deployed.
Osttroopen moving forward and trying to go after the M20 or the Wolverine here. And they do have the Panzerfaust. Looks like the Wolverine's going to take it. Nope, actually gets the M20, finishes that off. No more M20.
Just got destroyed.
Captain and Rifleman pushing forward. Rifleman should get inside the house there for a little bit of cover. Only one window on this side, though, so not too much damage would be coming out of that house, though. Assault Engineer still taking that victory point. And we'll hold 3 victory points once the Wehrmacht loses that. And it's certainly not going to be good for the Wehrmacht. And Rifleman now coming down to the fuel point, going to take this, and the U.S. forces owns the majority of the map right now. They have a pretty decent income. And now Wehrmacht moving out. Blobbin, unfortunately, needs to take some of these Ostruppen and move them up top. Could be taking this top here completely undefended right now, other than, by the looks of it, some rear echelon troops up there. And so these two Ostruppen could be moving up top, taking some of that territory. 1 rifleman left in this squad, 3-star. Definitely doesn't want to lose that. Grenadiers now 3-star, and a couple 2-star Grenadiers moving in, and looks like they have a BAR. And this 3-star squad here, very, very low on health, and Rifleman moving up a little bit. They can cover behind that Schlepper. And Rifleman moves off. A sliver of health on him, 1 sliver of health left on these Grenadiers. And now the Grenadiers here are going to have to hold out against Assault Engineers. And there goes that flame now. And going to force these out of here. Not going to be able to do too much. That BAR pumping out quite a bit of damage, but unfortunately the Assault Engineers flamethrower does pretty good. And the Wehrmacht really stuck in the base at the moment. Really can't move out too well. Just now going on top with only 1 Ostruppen squad. If he brought 2, he could have taken a little bit more territory a little bit quicker, as there's really nothing defending up there. Now moving towards that victory, or territory point rather. Already got that victory point. And vehicle crew still inside that church there. Now a 3-star veteran on the MG42. And now taking this fuel point as well with some Grenadiers. And now starting to move out a little bit, starting to open up the map a little bit here. Most of the U.S. forces is in the base, reinforcing and repairing, etc. So now the Germans' chance is now to push out once again. Here comes some Panzer Grenadiers. And Captain forcing the Ostruppen out of there, and got to retake that victory point there for the U.S. forces. Grenadiers down at the bottom taking that fuel point still, and Puma now moving out. And need to take the center for the Wehrmacht. Trying to take the center here, and we have the Assault Engineers of 2 riflemen to defend. However, that MG42 is now inside the church and doing a pretty good job of defending here. Always a good spot, except for this little area right here. You just can't shoot around. Sort of disrupts your vision a little bit. And here come the Panzer Grenadiers. Smoke went down all over those riflemen there, and sort of lets these Panzer Grenadiers move forward a little bit. And trying to burn out these riflemen and doing big damage every time they shoot that Flammenwerfer. But didn't quite force that squad out of there just yet. And MG42 still firing away. Rifleman moved up.
New anti-tank gun has arrived.
And a grenade would be welcome right now on that MG42. Unfortunately, doesn't have the munitions to do that. Now the captain up top taking back the territory that the Germans just took down at the bottom. Grenadiers taking the bottom victory point, but still does not own enough victory points here to really turn the game around. 458 to 175. And captain moving down here to the territory point. Going to be taking this, the BAR in this group. Pack 40 in a Puma, still chilling here at base and trying to reinforce all these troops here and heal them up. Ostruppen backing up here and getting some decent cover for this captain. And Ostrupen taking some heat there from the bazookas. And down to 4. Needs both Ostrupen up here up at the top. Now a 2-star veteran for that Ostrupen. The captain successfully defends there. Forces those Ostrupen back on home. Gonna still hold that victory point up top there for a little while. Riflemen and Panzer Grenadiers going at it.
We are losing a sector.
This is a very interesting group here. 1 Sturmgewehr, 1 Panzerschreck, and 1 Flammenwerfer.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
Puma moving up here to provide a little bit of defense. That Jackson still chilling all the way back here. And Jackson could easily take out this Puma, but that Pack 40 there provides a little bit of a problem.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Assault Engineer now taking the munitions point. Captain now inside the church here. Need to just get those Ostrupen out of there. Just really taking up, or the MG42's inside the church now, and the Ostrupen need to leave. And Captain just firing away at the church here. And now we have a 75 out in the field trying to deal with these Grenadiers. Ostrupen forces the Captain out of there, but here comes the Rifleman. But unfortunately, the MG42 firing away on it pins the Rifleman. And now in a little bit of trouble. And now a Panzer IV command take out on the field for the Wehrmacht, pushing forward at the Rifleman here. And now the Puma moving forward. Puma hits the Wolverine. And now the Pack on it as well. And Wolverine takes another shot there from that Puma. And Puma targets the weak point and stunned it temporarily. And one more shot here. That Jackson is lost. Now lost for the U.S. forces. A fair loss there. Jackson not too expensive, but definitely don't want to lose that. Or was that a Wolverine? Either way. I think it was just a Wolverine. Yeah, indeed, just a Wolverine. But sort of the same thing. I suppose the Jackson does a little bit more damage, but the Wolverine and the Jackson are pretty equally armored. Indeed, another Wolverine out on the field here. So my bad there, but almost kind of the same thing, you gotta admit. Jackson does a little bit more damage, a little bit more mobile. But the M10 just so cheap, and you can just pump them out so easily. Only 80 fuel, 270 manpower. You can really develop a few of these really easily. And once you have a few of them, you can pretty much take out just about anything. And now the Riflemen moving up top here. Ostrupen have taken that victory point up top and are now moving towards the munitions point. However, some Riflemen moving there as well. They do have that BAR and 3-star veteran, so these Ostrupen really have no chance right now. And moving right up on these Ostrupen, forcing them out of there. Wehrmacht now owns 2 of the victory points, 437 to 132, 23 minutes into the game here. Resources right now, 58 and 26 to 31 and 26, so even in terms of the fuel, but not at all in terms of the munitions. The U.S. forces owns both of the munitions points. Grenadiers trying to take this one at the moment. And so just tons of munitions coming in for the U.S. forces. And Panzer IV now moving out again. And the Puma, heavily damaged, needs to be repaired up. It looks like some Pioneers are going there now. And the Jackson strikes the Panzer IV. Or not the Jackson, the Wolverine. Oh, God, I keep getting juked by that Wolverine. Silly Wolverines. It's all their fault. It's not my fault. It's the Wolverine's fault. And now the Grenadiers inside the church, inside the house. See, now look what the Wolverines got me doing. Got me calling houses churches. Got me calling Wolverines Jacksons. And Panzer Grenadiers, oh, take a big shot there from that 75. Almost loses the whole squad. Panzer IV still chilling here, and Pack 40 now being brought up. Gonna try and get at that Wolverine, but unfortunately it's way back there, and quite a bit of troops in the way of that Pack 40. Assault Engineers inside the house, and Flame coming out of there forces those Grenadiers on back, and still 2 victory points. The top was taken by the U.S. forces, but the center now taken by the Wehrmacht. M10. Now 2 M10s out on the field and could go after that Panzer IV there. Pack 40 blast the front end of that Wolverine and hits it again. And down to about half health there.
Enemy forces are securing
And Wolverine
our
trying to move
territory.
around the top here and gonna go after, what is it going after? Unfortunately, it doesn't really have too much vision, so it doesn't really know what's going on back here. It has to know that this Panzer IV, Puma, and Pack 40 are back here. There he goes, backs up there. A wise choice. Osttroop and bail out of the house in time there to juke that grenade. And Wolverine needs repaired up. Just bring that back a little bit more and drop that crew and repair it on up. Assault engineers try to take out that Pack 40 there. Failed to do so. Now Pack 40 right in front of the Wolverine here. Hits the Wolverine. And I'm going to back that Pack 40 on out of there. And center trying to be taken here by the U.S. forces. U.S. forces have to retreat. And now leaving the Pioneers to take the victory point, but they're going to have to stand there for quite a while. And 75 looks like it's firing at the Panzer IV, which it actually could do damage to the Panzer IV. It does do damage, but it's not too much. And now going to be repairing up this Wolverine.
The enemy is attempting
And
to
Wolverine
steal
up
our
top
sector.
being repaired up, and it's being repaired up in a really bad spot. And lesson learned here: do not repair at a victory point. If you can't, it doesn't have any scouting around, and normally you can bring out some troops there,
We are
the crew,
losing
and
our
while you're
sector.
repairing it, you're actually capturing the victory point, which is pretty efficient, admittedly. But he has no troops around here to spy and see if anything's coming up on him. So really, this is just a sitting duck now. M10 is going to be lost here to the Puma. And very unnecessary loss. If he had some troops maybe here or here, he could have actually seen that Puma, and he could have repaired it. But unfortunately, without any vision, you really don't want to just decrew your tank right on a victory point. Panzer IV takes another shot there and almost lost.
The enemy
Very,
is
very
taking
low,
our
and he's repaired up
territory.
by the engineers. And Pioneers being reinforced there. Rifleman pop smoke now moving
Our
up on that
opponents are seizing the
MG42.
sector.
And now they're right up on it here and could decrew this. It looks like that MG42 is going to get out of there successfully, and Pack 40 needs to back up. However, there's lots of troops here to defend it. And forces those riflemen away, but now 2 victory points for the U.S. forces.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And rear echelon troops now taking the munitions point. .75 firing away, but hitting nothing. Munitions point being taken back by the U.S. forces. Rear echelon troops were trying to take the munitions point here, but fortunately forced out of there by a decent Wehrmacht blob here. Assault engineers putting down some M5 mines, but got caught in the process, so cancels that. And assault engineers here blasting away on the Osttruppen. May lose this Osttruppen squad here. And another flame should destroy it. And oh man, he might actually get away. This captain can probably finish it off, but he retreats as well. And a bundle grenade is thrown by the Panzer Grenadiers. Misses those assault engineers. And Panzer IV now moving up here into the center. And nothing really to defend it too much here. We have the Wolverine in the center and that 75. Some riflemen now moving up on the house and firing out of the house. And Panzer IV fires into the house. The house is almost destroyed here. Will collapse soon. And Wolverine firing away on that Panzer IV. Not gonna back that on out of there. And forces the Wolverine out with some grenadiers. They were trying to Panzerfaust it. And now gonna rifle grenade right into the house there and drops the house just as the riflemen leave.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
And the
sector.
victory point being taken there. Back by the U.S. forces and down here as well. So 3 stars right now for the Wehrmacht, but unfortunately going to lose 1 or 2 of them. May not lose the center here, as long as these troops can get in there in time. That smoke there will buy those riflemen a little bit of time. And Grenadiers there eat a grenade. And Grenadiers now running away. Gonna make it back to base. Osttroopen taking big damage there from 2 assault engineers with flamethrowers. And we now have a mortar out on the field here for the Wehrmacht to deal with that 75. Unfortunately, the 75 has a much, much better range than the mortar does. Pack fires again there. Takes the Wolverine down to about half health, and Assault Engineer is going to have to retreat on home. And now 2 victory points again for the U.S. forces. Captain now being completely pinned by the MG42 in the building here, forcing him on home. And Russian troops now going down to the bottom, and perhaps just going to try and secure this, and perhaps put some barbed wire. Could do that, would hold off the Wehrmacht opponent for a little while. And vehicle crew here with some Thompsons. Now going at it with the Osttroopen. Osttroopen getting closer to the hay there for some cover. And vehicle crew taking big damage, but as soon as they get up here with these Thompsons, going to do huge damage to the Osttroopen, but he's moving around a little bit too much there. And MG42 setup forces that vehicle crew out of there. Multiple Grenadiers and Osttroopen now moving into the center here, going to try and take this back. And just Riflemen moving up, and Assault Engineers on that MG42 forces that out of there. Osttroopen running home as well. U.S. forces taking back at that munitions point there. And not too much there to defend. Grenadiers occupied with the center while the Riflemen take that munitions point. And Panzer IV now moving up, and is a 2-star veteran, so has those armor skirts. A little bit better armor for that Panzer IV.
Forces are securing our territory.
And now Wehrmacht own 2 victory points once again. And center is neutralized. Assault Engineers taking that top one.
The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
And a bazooka has been picked up by the Wehrmacht there. Free bazooka, why not? Looks like a couple bazookas were picked up. One of the Osttroopen has one, and one of these Grenadiers has one. Either that or it's one of the assault, or one of the Pioneers. Can't really tell the difference. I think it's the Pioneers. A little bit too much moving going on right now. And Panzer IV trying to take out this munitions cache, gonna get blasted by this M10 though. Grenadiers completely pinned. And Panzer IV pop smoke, gonna make it out of there, no problem. And still has that Puma all the way back at base here. And indeed, a couple bazookas in this group of Wehrmacht, which will serve them well against that Wolverine later on, and perhaps any armor down the road. And moving that that Pack 40 out, and Puma now moves up and tries to defend here. I'm not going to do too good of a job. A rifle grenade could hit this Puma here, but not too much munitions for the U.S. forces. Even though he's had high munitions the whole game, he's been using them quite a bit. And there is a demo charge here in the center. And it looks like it is a U.S. forces demo charge there with the assault engineers. And here comes some Osttroopen now, some unsuspecting Osttroopen, and if they get right on there, they could lose this whole squad, and loses the majority of the squad there. One of them was pretty far away from the explosion, but took out 5 Osttroopen with 1 demo charge. Not too bad of a trade. Panzer IV definitely needs repaired up. 2 of the Pioneers, and indeed it is a Pioneer, does have that backpack. Should have known. And now the Bulldozer Sherman out on the field. Something you don't see every day either. And trying to use this bulldozer Sherman to deal with some of these troops here.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
And Puma getting shot at there, but fortunately the RNG for that Puma is saving it. And no hits have landed on that Puma yet. And it looks like all three of the victory points here being taken by the U.S. forces up top, down at the bottom, and in the center. But the Wehrmacht pushing into the center are going to push the U.S. forces out of here sooner or later. Just some riflemen and assault engineers here. And more grenadiers pouring in. That MG42 as well. Some smoke going to hold off there for a little while. Assault engineer takes a rifle grenade. And here comes that bulldozer Sherman coming right up on that Puma. Fortunately, it's going to be in a bad spot here. Going to take some damage, some unnecessary damage. Takes another shot there. Gets engine damage, loses that bulldozer Sherman, and that was a very unnecessary loss. M10 firing at the Panzer IV here. Panzer IV going to take another shot. And is it going to fire or not? Looks like it is just out of range there. Out of sight range, perhaps. Now up top, being taken back by the Panzer Grenadiers. Down at the bottom, the U.S. forces have taken the victory point and now taking that munitions point back with the vehicle crew there. Puma needs repaired, and so does the Panzer IV, and has a couple engineers here. So could take one engineer on both and repair both of those up. Rifle grenade fires and completely misses the vehicle crew there. They were already on the move. And gonna back out of there. And here Panzer IV coming around the corner and firing at the vehicle crew. Gonna try and run them down here. And a point blank shot takes out one of them.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Engineers, Grenadiers moving up. That MG42 still going strong here.
Not let up. The enemy still has 300 points.
Riflemen completely pinned there behind that bulldozer Sherman. And a grenade goes down on the MG42 and that mortar there. Mortar doesn't suffer too much damage. And assault engineers moving forward. And not a good idea. They weren't really able to do too much there. Victory point now in the hands of the U.S. forces. 2 victory points here for the U.S. forces. 54 points left for the Wehrmacht, so now in a bad shape here. 31 and 23 to 47 and 29, so a bit more resources though for the Wehrmacht, but not enough victory points to go around anymore. 51 left. Every victory point matters at this point.
Ready for order. Ready for action.
Now a bunker coming down in the center, right at the victory point here, and always a pretty good idea, but unfortunately the Wolverine and the combined with the 75 can easily deal with this bunker as long as he has the ambition to do so. Now 3 victory points belong to the Wehrmacht, so they're going to definitely turn this game around, or at least take some chunks out of the U.S. forces score. 275 to 51, can't really afford to lose much. And not even going to put a 50 cal or a 40 MG42 in here. Just going to stick the MG42 in there, and not going to actually put the static MG42 in there. And I know that was thoroughly confusing, but you probably get the idea, right? This troop in here should be moving in on those rear echelon troops, saving that bottom victory point. Assault engineers moving up on that Pack 40 here, and flames going off on it, and going to pick this up and back it off. And doesn't lose any men, which is very surprising. Panzerwerfer now on the map. And coming down here. Looks like it's coming down all over that 75. And took only 1 man out with that barrage. Rifle grenade goes down on the rifleman there. Rifle grenade on the rifleman. That's sort of a, say that 10 times fast. And now the rifleman running away here. A small sliver of health. Both of them threw a grenade at the same time. Fortunately for the Wehrmacht, their grenade goes off a little bit quicker. And gonna lose this bunker already to that 75 and the M10. And I figured that would happen pretty quickly. two M10s out of the map here for the U.S. forces. M10 lost its main gun, but still has that second M10 here. Going to push that Puma up and try and finish it off, but misses it. And 75 trying to get out of there and may get decrewed here by the Wehrmacht, and gets decrewed. And Pioneers moving up on that 75, but not going to be able to take it. It's going to remain in U.S. forces' hands by the looks of it. And now that Wolverine itself was almost destroyed, so both Wolverines almost lost by the looks of it, of one Puma. And I don't even see the Pak-40. Pak-40's all the way back here. Panzerwerfer almost ready to barrage again. And now the vehicle crew here going to take that 75. And they stopped repairing that Wolverine, which I don't know if I agree with that, to take that. Grenade goes off on that MG42, leaving one man in the squad. Now the bottom being taken by Strupen. Top owned by the Wehrmacht, and the center now owned by the Wehrmacht. So all three once again owned by the Wehrmacht. And another barrage goes down. We'll see if we got any more kills. And no more kills, but got a little bit more experience there. About halfway to level 1 veterancy. And 75 is back in action, ready to go. And still needs to repair up that Wolverine. And could actually bring in a third Wolverine. Once you get 3 Wolverines, I really like having 3 Wolverines. It's really just sort of a magic number, I suppose. When 3 fire at once at a tank, clobbers it pretty good. And pretty much halves health just about any tank. 3 shots from a Wolverine, except I suppose the front end of a Panther, King Tiger, that sort of thing. But with the Panzer IVs, and definitely the Puma for sure. And now one of the victory points being taken back by the U.S. forces. U.S. forces only need to take down 51 more points to win this game. And rear echelon troops holding out on the munitions point, but not going to last too long. Pioneer and the Grenadier are going to force them out of there really quick. Panzer Grenadier moving forward. 1 Panzerschreck, 1 flamethrower, and now just 1 STG after that grenade took out one of them.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Assault Engineer are going to be taking the territory point here. Looks like they're going to be moving down to the bottom. And I got to try and stop this Strupen squad. Spotted them. And should be able to do good damage to this Strupen squad here with that flamethrower and those automatics. And unfortunately, it looks like the Assault Engineers losing this situation here. Are going to have forced those out of there. And Brumbar now on the map. Again, something you don't see every day. I kind of like the macro in this game. It's sort of interesting. We have lots of Wolverines out of the map. Brumbars, Panzer IV, command tanks. Sort of an interesting game. And of course we have the wannabe urban assault Grenadiers here. And I really wish they would bring that commander back. Such a fun commander.
We are losing a sector.
Panzer IV and Puma moving around the corner here against the Riflemen. Riflemen about to have a bad day here. Getting hit by flamethrowers and multiple tanks. And 2 Wolverines now moving forward, haul and ass here at the Panzer IV and the Puma. And Panzer IV going to back up, going to show its frontal armor there and try and get out of here. Going to go around this the wrong way here. And if those Wolverines weren't so timid, they could have easily taken out this Panzer IV. And here comes the Panzerwerfer barrage, and those Riflemen ran right into it. Ate that pretty good, and still only a few kills, only 4 kills still on that Panzerwerfer. Now a level 1 veterancy. And Brumbar now moving across the map here.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
MG42 firing, defending the center victory point here. But getting blasted by both of these 75s. Needs to pick that up and run. He's going to get decrewed here in just a moment. If those 75s continue to fire on that MG42, which looks like they stopped. Wolverine in big trouble there. Almost lost. Very, very low. Brumbar still chilling down here, and would like to see him going after units. And MG42,
We have lost a pack gun.
Mortar, and the PaK-40 all decrewed. So 3 things lost there. Pretty big loss overall. And could easily pick that back up, though. Not too big of a deal, but it's going to cost him quite a pretty penny to reinforce all of that. Now Brumbar going after the rifleman at the center here. And 275s hit that Brumbar in the side there, and you can see the 75s actually do damage. Getting hit by artillery does hurt in general. Pioneers are going to be taking back the center victory point here. We have Grenadiers up top taking that top victory point. So 164 to 46. 75s both firing at once. Pins the Pioneers. Here comes the Panzerwerfer, going to fire on both of these by the looks of it. And these 75s are in big trouble here. And here come the RNG. Oh, and takes out both of those 75s. Big barrage that time. 17 kills. Went from 4 to 17, I believe. So that was quite a bit. Took out 5 from each of those, I believe, and some from these squads as well. That was a very excellent barrage. About 13, I think 13 kills on that barrage there. Very, very good. In just about any situation, 2 Wolverines still playing a little bit too timid with these Wolverines. Although this is pretty low, need to repair that obviously, but this Panzer IV, when it was backing up right about here a couple of minutes ago, could have been lost easily. Its rear armor was just being shown to those Wolverines, but he was playing so timidly that he missed his opportunity to take out that Panzer IV. Another Brumbar moving across the map again, and Wolverine here gonna spot this Brumbar and fire on it, and no, gonna go around the corner again, playing a little timid. And could have easily gotten a shot in on that Brumbar, but now missed the opportunity to do so. And 116 to 45. Pressure is on for the U.S. forces now, down to 113. Puma still firing away. The engine is damaged. 2 Wolverines coming around the corner here. 3 Wolverines on the field. Now going after that Puma. Now he's got a little bit of balls with these Wolverines here, and pushing forward. It takes out that Puma. And now needs to go into the center and do what it needs to do and take out the Panzerwerfer. Didn't see where the Panzerwerfer barraged again that time, but it got, looks like 4 kills there, and I didn't see exactly where it barraged. Looks like over here, perhaps. And got itself an additional 4 kills. Now a 2-star veteran. Barrage comes a little bit faster. Now the M10 here coming around the corner and needs to fire on this Panzerwerfer. Could get it in possibly one shot here, particularly if it hits it around the backside. Pop smoke on that Panzerwerfer. Panzerwerfer looks like it's going to be lost here, and he's juking hard on this Wolverine and just abandons it, which unfortunately takes away all the veterancy there. Brumbar fires and going to finish it off here with that Wolverine. And taking his good time. Oh, and he hits the very, very bad RNG there. He hits the world object there. And M10 trying to back out of here and gets lost there by the Grenadiers. And don't mind the explosion sound there. I think my mic just sort of got bumped a little bit. And M10 gets blasted there by the PaK-40 and also a Panzerschreck here. And now moving up on the M10, and there's troops all around it here, and looks like Panzerfaust going off there. Takes out another M10, so now 2 M10s lost, only 1 left. And Panzerwerfer is not reinforced. Panzer IV going to take some shots here from that Wolverine. Wolverine now takes a shot from the Panzerfaust. Its engine now damaged. Panzer IV going to back out of there, and right behind the PaK-40. PaK-40 blocking that Panzer, the Panzer IV. And Brumbar should move up, even though the Brumbar doesn't particularly do too well against armor. The Wolverines have no not too much armor really to speak of, so the Brumbar could do pretty big damage to it. And even some medium armor the Brumbar does okay against. If it gets an excellent hit, and if it gets a direct hit, it will do pretty good damage. And Wolverine here surviving from RNG. Brumbar finishes it off. Oh, nope, actually the Brumbar did not finish it off. Looks like the command tank finished it off there. Brumbar firing away on the 75s. And Nyjah saying that's spam, but I see no real spam. Indeed, he says question spam. Strupen spam, he only has 4 the whole game, so that's really only 2 call-ins. Again, wouldn't really call that spam from a neutral point of view here. And now a slight bickering back and forth here. The U.S. forces angry that he is almost certainly going to lose this game. Only has a few troops left compared to this entire army of the Wehrmacht. So now calling that he has spam, and I believe he only called in 2 Ostrupen reserves, which is a total of 4. So I suppose it looks like a lot, but it really is not. It's only 2 call-ins.
Close to victory. Press on. The enemy has 25 points remaining.
And very, very angry. And Nyjah saying, yes, I outplayed you, but I'm not sure if that's the case when you lose the game and you get outplayed. Very interesting.
Access to additional battlefield options.
Killed most of your Grens, but that still doesn't really cover it. When you lose the game, doesn't matter how much you killed, you still lost the game. But anyway, I'm supposed to remain neutral here, but it's kind of hard to remain neutral when the other player is totally wrong. And so that was a very, very good game. And it was the first time I casted both of these players here. So it was the first time for both of them, I think, being casted. And I think Thien, or maybe that's just like Thien or something. And I'm very sorry for probably destroying your name. But you did quite well. And Nyjah did pretty well, too, for most of the game. So it was actually a pretty even game. But right at the end there, I think that nonsense from Nyjah, very unnecessary. Just say GG and leave honorably. Saying that you outplayed your opponent when you lost is kind of like curing diarrhea with X-Lax. Doesn't really work too well. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this replay and had some pretty interesting micro and such. And macro too with the Brumbar and German Bulldozer and M10s. Pretty interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time.